It makes some people sneeze, makes some people cry, like with their eyes water. And that's all part of it. So the more you stretch, the more it kind of numbs those nerve endings. It's not a magician. Your brows will always be similar. They're never going to be identical. Threading is so good for, like, if this is your first brow treatment, if you're a teenager, because the hairs are a lot softer and delicate and you don't want to interfere with that hair growth. Go in with realistic expectations, work with your therapist together to get an arch and a shape that suits you. Welcome back. Thank you for joining me in my series about spa and beauty treatments, what to expect when you're getting them done as a customer, and why you should get them done, the benefits, and a little bit about the history. People don't really go for treatment sometimes unless they kind of know what to expect or know what they're all about. I love promoting the spa industry, the beauty industry, and I think just with a little bit of education and a little bit of awareness, people will be more likely to get treatments done. If they knew more about them, they'd be more likely to try them. So I also do sales training for actual therapists, promoting ethical sales. So if you're interested in that type of content, I have loads of that for you as well. But let's get into the exciting treatment of threading. So threading is facial hair removal with no heat, no wax, no plucking one hair by one hair. It's literally cotton thread, a traditional method, natural, quick, easy, relatively painless. The more often you get it done, become accustomed to it, and I'm going to go into all the benefits now. So threading has been around for centuries. It comes from India, Persia, the Middle East. It's really steeped in a lot of culture. For a lot of girls growing up, it's like a rite of passage. It's like entering womanhood. It's like personal grooming. It's for special occasion. It has like a cultural significance as well. So there's just so much behind this amazing treatment. So the therapist will nowadays it has become so popular. It is such a good effective treatment for like more sensitive skin. You can get really precise shape. You can do like above the eyebrows, you can do like lip and side of face, and it gives such a natural full look to the brow that even men tend to get it done. It's really good for men. The finish can be done really naturally, so it doesn't look over shaped. Waxing, in comparison, waxing is great too, but waxing involves a lot of heat, and the sensitive eye area, that skin is so delicate. You don't want to overstretch the elasticity in the skin and be pulling and tugging. I think it's good for maybe a once-off treatment, or threading is just, there's no heat involved. You're not causing skin sensitivity and you're not pulling and tugging at that eye area. So threading is a really good one for ongoing, like if you're constantly getting your brows done, which obviously I recommend. The brows frame the face. There's such a difference. It's one of the first things people notice, and even like those small little hairs underneath, they just take away from, you just look polished and groomed. When you can have a natural brow and still look really polished and groomed, and full brows make you look younger. It really balances the face. The fuller the brow, the more hair growth. It's very anti-aging as well. What to expect during a treatment? The therapist will normally sit face to face with you and measure out the brows. So she'll do all these measurements, which were naturally a good arch. A lot of times we've overplucked our brows. That used to be the fashion, to have the skinny thin brows. So threading is great for like if you get it done over a 3-month, kind of 6-month period, to reintroduce growth into the brow. And threading is fabulous. It's like cost effective, it's quick, It doesn't cause sensitivity on the skin. It's not pulling and tugging at the delicate facial areas. You're not left with a lot of redness after, maybe a little tiny bit initially, just until your skin gets used to it. But waxing, because there's a lot of heat involved, and the pores are open, and you're introducing heat into, like, when you've just taken hair out of a follicle, you can get like little heat rash or like kind of bumps after waxing, I find, so that when you go threading you get less of that, very few kind of that heat reaction. And then compared to laser hair removal, which is like a bigger investment, laser also, because it's a light treatment using actual like laser light, you need to be so sensitive. Like on the facial area it's not that good because you need a lot of SPF, a lot of sun protection factor. You can risk pigmentation, especially if you're getting like the lip area done, and the lip and the side of the face on women, it can be hormone related. So laser is not great if the root cause of the hair growth is hormonal. If it's just natural body hair like the underarm, that works really well with laser, or the legs. It's because you've always had that. It's like the cycle of the hair growth, you can catch it better with laser. Whereas hormones can come and go, and hormones interfere with hair and can stimulate hair growth. So you're getting this laser done, and the laser is going to get rid of the hair that's growing in that follicle, but then one beside it can sprout up because of hormones. Do you see? So whereas threading, it gives you a lovely clean finish. It's great for like putting your makeup on afterwards, because it gets all those fine blonde little hairs as well. So laser may be worth the investment if you want to compare all the pros and cons, but if you'd have to be really conscious of skin pigmentation for all skin types and all skin tones. Threading is so good for, like, if this is your first brow treatment, if you're a teenager, because the hairs are a lot softer and delicate, and you don't want to interfere with that hair growth and start getting all like wiry or heavy hair growth, or hairs in all different directions. Threading is really natural. It just goes with the flow of the hair growth. So it's so good for teens, because the therapist will measure out where the brow should sit naturally, and the whole emphasis with threading is always fullness and balance and natural. So one thing to be aware of when you're getting threading done is the therapist is not a magician. Your brows will always be similar. They're never going to be identical. A lot of these perfect brows, they're filled in. They use pencil, or they use eyebrow. They use makeup concealer to get that perfect arch. So, but when you take that makeup off, the natural brow that's left underneath, it's just the natural features of the face. They say you have like a masculine and feminine side to your face, even your features. So they're never identical. They're literally like similar but not identical. So all you're looking for is balance and symmetry, but you're not going to get it absolutely like what you would get with a filter, what you would get in, say, a picture of a model that, even though it looks really, really natural on the model, they definitely have concealer and makeup on, just done really well. So I think clients' expectations, you need to be aware of what the therapist is able to do. Like, brows just grow. It's your facial expression. Sometimes you arch one eyebrow more than the other. They're never going to be absolutely identical. You can only achieve that with makeup, or if you get semi-permanent eyebrows done, which is like a tattoo for your eyebrows. It's not as strong as a normal body tattoo, but similar. But if you have a good therapist that works with you over a couple of sessions, don't expect one threading treatment and then for your brows to just grow forevermore perfectly. That's not how facial features work and hair works. You're trying to apply grooming and to a natural process. This is just what hair is and bodies. Go in with realistic expectations, work with your therapist together to get an arch and a shape that suits you. Some people's brows thinner suits them, or arched, or very more rounded. You have to go with what your natural shape is indicating to get that really balanced look. Some people like their brows really brushed up high, they like them longer. Sometimes people like them to cut them and brush them all upwards and then cut them and trim them literally with a scissors to trim them like hair, and they want that more flat look. So it's always what's in fashion as well. The threading is classic, it's timeless, you can't go wrong. Do try it as an alternative. If you always get your brows waxed or you're always plucking them, give it a go. The therapist is trained, so she's gonna get you to like place your hand on your eyelid and kind of your other hand up above your eyebrow and your forehead and stretch. So the more you stretch, it sprouts the hairs upwards so the therapist can grab them from the root. Threading gets the hair really well from the root and all the blonde white hairs. You can cover such a big surface area. So the therapist will get you to stretch and pull it. The first time you get it done, it can be a strange sensation. It can be a little bit sensitive. It makes some people sneeze, makes some people cry, like with their eyes water. That's all part of it. So the more you stretch, the more it kind of numbs those nerve endings in the hair, because it can be very sensitive, especially on the lip area or across the chin. And yes, it's people think you don't have hair there. We're all still mammals at the end of the day. So people have facial hair. It can be darker on the side of the face for some people, and other people, they just think they have no hair there, but we have all over our body. We have white, small little hairs, and for some people they're just darker, more obvious, like sideburn kind of looks. So it's such a personal preference of where you want to get threading done. So don't think and be judgmental about people who have hair there in the face. There's nothing wrong. That is a natural thing. It's more just a preference if you'd like to remove it or not. Threading is excellent for brows because of the precision, but it's so good for sides of the face, chin, lip, because it can cover the method that it's done. You can remove a larger facial hair area at a time. Compared to, there is another treatment if you have just one or two or a little patch or like a mole that maybe has hair growing out of it. I'd recommend electrolysis, because that can target, like if you have 2 or 3 really stubborn hairs that constantly reoccur, then electrolysis can get the hair at the root. It's like using a small little needle to basically cauterize the hair follicle so that the hair stops growing there. But that's better if you have like a little patch or 2 or 3 or this one dark stubborn hair, that one little hair that you might pluck. But plucking just encourages because you're tugging at it, it's like it just grows back, and then the growth back can be really blunt and just even more obvious sometimes. And when you're plucking at the skin, any kind of friction causes more hair growth, ironically. So if you're like removing it that way, it sometimes can cause more hair growth, or the reason can be hormonal stimulates hair growth as well. So I hope all that was helpful advice, or just to give you a bit more confidence if you're going for your first brow treatment. Therapist will sit opposite you face to face and have a look at your brows. So don't worry if she's kind of looking at your face. It can be a little bit uncomfortable the very first time, but she's just looking at the shape and the arch and where the brow falls. So it's like your nose, your inner eye ideally aligns with the start of your brow, and then she's looking at the line from your nostril through your eye. You might use an eyebrow pencil or a white pencil to draw little markings for herself. Not always. Sometimes a lot of therapists, they've been doing it for years. They know it from just the look, or they can tell that your brows have been done before. They can kind of shape it that way. Or a lot of them, they like to draw the lines, or they use the thread itself to mark the skin. So she'll take a little bit of thread to use it as a line, as a guide. Then she'll ask you to close your eyes, hold your eye, stretch. She'll show you what to do and where to place your hands. Then she will, and don't worry, some threading artists, a very, very traditional method is for them to put it in their mouth. To hold it in their mouth, it's like a different way for them to pull the thread. So it's still really, really hygienic. They're not getting any of that thread that's in their mouth and near your skin. She would cleanse the area, like antibacterial, and like sanitize your skin. She may need to remove any makeup that's there, and then he or she will continue to actually thread and pull the hair. So don't worry if it's a little bit red after, or if find it sensitive, they may put aloe vera gel or something calming on afterwards. They will brush through the hair, and sometimes they go ahead and actually trim the hair. Or they will ask you to hold a mirror and show them what you like. So bring a picture with you. That's really good. Or explain you want a natural full brow, but that can mean something different to everybody. So you have to communicate really effectively. If you have a particular way of doing your brows, you need to be able to express that. Say like really full if you want it natural, or if you are bringing a picture of ideal brows, make sure the picture is somebody similar. Like there's no point having fair light brows and then you're showing somebody with dark curly hair and big bushy eyebrows. You're not going to get that same effect. That's not realistic. So often therapists will tint the brows as well, like using a vegetable hair dye on the hairs. They may do that first, let that sit, wipe that off, and then thread. Or you don't always have to get your brows tinted. It does really help. It kind of creates a bit of depth in the hair, and you can get light brown or brown as well. You don't have to come out with big dark caterpillar eyebrows, as they say. But I know a lot of eyebrow lamination is in now as well, which is like brushing the hairs upwards. It's a whole process, so that's a whole different treatment. But if you're just starting out and all this is new for you, try threading. It's so good. It's natural, traditional, proven. It has such lovely culture and meaning behind it as well, and the results are just outstanding. Afterwards they'll put gel on the area or some kind of soothing cream, and it's best not to touch the area. Let it settle. If you're touching and rubbing the eyebrows afterwards, that's how you're going to cause bacteria, and you're going to get those little bumps, and just leave the area alone afterwards if you can, as much. And speak up if the therapist, if you're not fully happy or you want more or less off. It's your treatment as well as a customer, so the therapist can only go by what she thinks is best, but you might have different personal preferences. So speak up. The therapist can't do anything when you're back at home. You need to be able to communicate, and therapists aren't offended. It's your eyebrows. It's okay if you're fussy. It's your face. You're entitled to be fussy, and don't think you're asking too much if you're just not happy or you want more or less off the hair. You need to communicate with the therapist. Ideally, the therapist asks you, are you happy with those or what shape, the consultation at the start. So yeah, have those words like, do you want it rounded, do you want full, do you want it very arched, precise, sharp shape? Like, just have a think about before you go for your treatment so that you can communicate and ask. But the best is always to say, keep the natural shape, keep as much fullness as possible, and you can't go wrong with that. So happy grooming. Nice to get your brows done. It really lasts much, much longer, threading does, because it's getting all those white baby hairs than if you were just to tweeze. You're not getting that whole surface area, that smooth look. So when people have those close-up photos of their face and their brows look really good, they've used concealer or the skin as like the threading has removed those pale blonde hairs as well that we all have. So that's why they look so good. So I encourage you to try threading at your next visit. I have more videos about other spa treatments and other styles of massage and what to expect. So let me know if this was helpful. Give it a thumbs up. If you want more content like this, or you want me to go into the pros and cons of any other particular treatment, let me know in the comments below. And check out, I also have a playlist all about queen mindset if you're into self-development. So plenty content, not just for therapists themselves. Like, I used to be a therapist, but I am now also the customer. I'm a stay-at-home mom, so I have that lovely perspective for you guys. I know what it's like to do treatments and receive treatments. So I hope this was helpful, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you for listening.